Long ago, nestled between mountains and misty woods, there was a small village where everyone knew each other and everyone feared the forest beyond. They said a great black wolf lived there, with eyes like fire and teeth like ice. People stayed away from the boundary at the forest's edge, except for one little girl. Her name was Luma, and she wore a red hood her mother had sewn for her, bright as a berry in the snow. People called her Red Hood, and she didn't mind. Luma was curious and brave. While people whispered warnings about the wolf, Luma listened and wondered, what if the wolf isn't bad? What if he's just alone? She'd ask. One autumn morning, Luma's grandmother fell ill. Her cottage was deep in the forest, beyond where people were too scared to go. But Luma didn't hesitate. She packed a basket of bread and berries and set off through the trees, her red hood fluttering like a flame. The forest was quiet, too quiet. As she walked, eyes watched her. The wind whispered through the trees like voices from another time. Suddenly, from the shadows, a shape emerged, tall, silent, fierce. The wolf, his fur was thick and dark, his eyes bright like glowing amber. Luma's heart raced, but she didn't run. The wolf stepped closer, then sat calmly, looking at her, not with hunger, but with something else, something ancient, something kind. Luma, I don't think you're here to hurt me. The wolf blinked, surprised. No one had ever said that before. He stood and turned, glancing back at her. Follow me, the wolf said. And so she did. The wolf led her through secret paths and glowing clearings, places untouched by time. They passed trees with silver leaves, rivers that whispered stories, and stones that glowed under their feet. As they walked, the wolf spoke, not with words, but with thoughts. He told her of how he once protected the forest long ago when it was full of magic. But over time, people grew afraid. They hunted the wild and cut down trees. The wolf stopped showing himself, and the magic began to fade. But now, it was coming back, because someone believed again. That night, by a crackling fire under the stars, Luma shared her own story, about missing her parents, about how her grandmother taught her to be brave, and about how sometimes being alone didn't mean being lost. The wolf listened, and for the first time in many years, he felt something new, hope. By dawn, they reached her grandmother's cottage. Luma turned to thank the wolf, but he was already fading into the trees, like a shadow returning to its home. Will I see you again? She asked. His voice echoed gently. From that day on, Luma and the guardian wolf became friends. Together, they ventured deeper into the forest, helping lost animals, healing wounded trees, and learning the ancient secrets of the woods. Luma's heart grew stronger. She learned that bravery wasn't about being fearless. It was about stepping forward, even when you are. From then on, Red Hood was not just a girl in a red cape. She became a symbol of courage and kindness. And the wolf? He was no longer feared but celebrated as the silent guardian of the brave-hearted. So remember, sometimes the things we fear most are just waiting for someone to understand them. And true bravery, it begins with believing in yourself and in others. Believe in your courage, share kindness, be brave.